Good morning, everybody. I'm Art Bell. And in the continuing adventure into the unknown, uncharted territories of the human mind, we're going to be departing a little, in a way, this night and interviewing a very, very unusual individual on the big island of Hawaii named Terence McKenna. Who is Terence McKenna? Well, among other things, he's probably the successor to Timothy Leary. Now, that may not be the focus, or it may turn into the focus of the interview. I don't know. And I don't care. He also has a lot of very interesting views on time and what we are approaching. We'll talk about all that with Terence McKenna. Very interesting a fellow in a moment. As a matter of fact, he had to come down. Oh, we'll find out about that from a very obscure location. All right, this should be most interesting. First, let us see if we can establish contact. Terence McKenna, are you there?
I am, Art. Good evening. How are you?
Well, I'm just fine, and I hope you hear me. I hear you okay.
Yes, I hear you fine.
All right, you're on the big island of Hawaii, is that right?
That's right.
Now, when I called you the other day, you were way up in an area where your only contact with the outside world was by cellular telephone. Where do you actually live? On a mountain somewhere?
I live up on the slopes of the world's largest volcano, which is Mauna Loa. And when you called me the other day, we mutually agreed my cell phone is not ready for prime time. So I came off the mountain. I do have up there a 128K connect to the internet that's wireless, 40 miles through the air.
Oh.
But my phones are not so good, so I came down off the mountain to talk to you this evening.
Well, if it were not for the delay, I would say an internet phone. We could have done the interview by internet phone, but you have that little delay there that makes it hard, so I think we've done the right thing. Anyway, so you're off your mountain perch. By the way, Terence, what's it like living on the side of an active volcano?
Well, it's very exciting, actually. I don't know if you've ever been out to the Big Island, but people
no, I have not.
People think of Hawaii as swaying palms and endless beaches. What we have out here are lava fields and 14,000-foot mountains on this island, two of them. One, the world's largest volcano, the world's largest mountain in terms of volume, and the other one just 100 or so feet shorter. So we've got quite a dramatic landscape out here.
Is there any possibility that that volcano will actually blow?
Well, it's been in continuous eruption for the past 13 years, but over on the other side, about 70 miles away on the what's called the Hilo, or the west side. So we sort of feel pretty safe out here. There is some talk. They had a meeting of the International Geophysical Congress a couple of years out here. There is large-scale destabilization that goes on periodically in these islands, big undersea landslides that produce local tsunamis. But in an effort to escape human-created catastrophe and confusion, I'm betting that I can eke out 50 years on this island and slide through in good shape.
Well, it's probably a pretty good bet, actually, in the long scheme of things.
I think so. I think Hawaii, if the world flies to pieces, it'll be a very good place to be, and if the world doesn't fly to pieces, it's a pretty good place to be.
And if the volcano should totally blow up, it's a painless death.
That's right. And a dramatic one.
Yeah, and a dramatic one as well, that's right. All right. You have a theory about time. Time, actually, Terence, is one of my favorite all-time topics. So before we launch into what you think about time, tell me what you think time is. In other words, is time our invention, or is time a real thing that I realize we're measuring it, but in the cosmic scheme of things, is there really time?
Yeah, I mean, you give me a perfect entree to launch into this thing. See, in the West, we have inherited from Newton what is called the idea of pure duration, which is simply that time is sort of a place where things are placed so that they don't all happen at once. In other words, it's viewed as qualityless. It's an abstraction. In fact, I think when we carry out a complete analysis of time, what we're going to discover is that, like matter, time is composed of elemental, discrete types. All matter, organic and inorganic, is composed of 104, 108 elements. There's argument. Time, on the other hand, is thought to be this featureless, qualityless medium. But in fact, as we experience it as living, feeling creatures, time has qualities. There are times where everything seems to go right and everything seems to go wrong.
That's true. Terence, that's absolutely true. I've wondered about that all my life. There are periods of time where, in effect, you can do no wrong.
That's right.
And other periods of time where you can do no right, no matter what you do.
Well, so in looking at this, I created a vocabulary. Actually, I borrowed it from Alfred North Whitehead. But I think I'm on to something which science has missed. And it's this. It's that the universe, or a human life, or an empire, or an ecosystem, any large-scale or small-scale process can be looked upon as a kind of a dynamic struggle between two qualities, which I call habit and novelty. And I think they're pretty self-explanatory.
I'm sorry, habit and what?
Novelty.
Novelty. Okay.
Novelty. And habit is simply repetition of established pattern, conservation, holding back what has already been achieved into a system. And novelty is the chance-taking, the exploratory, the new, the never-before-seen. And these two qualities, habit and novelty, are locked in all situations in a kind of struggle. But the good news is that if you look at large scales of time, novelty is winning. And this is the point that I have been so concerned to make that I think science has overlooked. That if you look back through the history of the human race, or of life on this planet, or of the solar system and the galaxy, as you go backward in time, things become more simple, more basic.
Yes.
And so turning that on its head, we could say, as we come toward the present, things become more novel, more complex. So I've taken this to be actually a universal law affecting historical process, biological processes, and astrophysical processes. Nature produces and conserves novelty. And what I mean by that is, as the universe cooled, the original cloud of electron plasma, eventually atomic systems formed. As it further cooled, molecular systems, then long-chain polymers, then non-nucleated primitive DNA-containing life, later complex life, multicellular life. And this is a principle that reaches right up to our dear selves. And notice, Art, it's working across all scales of being. This is something that is as true of human societies as it is of termite populations or populations of atoms in a chemical system. Nature conserves, prefers novelty. And the interesting thing about an idea like this is it stands the existentialism of modern philosophy on its head. You know, what modern atheistic existentialism says is we're a cosmic accident.